At just 17 years old, Summer McIntosh had a completely unreal Olympic Games this year in Paris. McIntosh walked away from Paris as the second most decorated swimmer behind only Leon Marchand and the most decorated female swimmer, winning 3 Olympic gold medals and 1 silver medal. But how did we get here? How did her event lineup evolve to the point where it is today? Who is Summer McIntosh? McIntosh had her first major international meet at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics when she was just 14 years old. McIntosh nearly earned a medal in her very first event, as she finished 4th in the 400 free. That 4th place finish was her highest of the meet, as she placed 9th out of the semifinals of the 200 free and 11th in the 800 free. McIntosh was also a member of Canada's 800 free relay, where she led off in a big-time personal best of 1:55.74. Not long after those games, Summer would participate in Season 3 of the International Swimming League as a member of the newly added Toronto Titans. During her time in the ISL, Summer would be a valuable member of the Titans, winning multiple events over the course of various matches. The ISL wasn't McIntosh's last foray into short course meters. A month after her ISL season ended, she participated at the Short Course World Championships. It was here that she won her first ever international medal with a 2nd place finish in the 400 free. She would add a 2nd medal in the 800 free relay as well, but this time it would be gold, as she helped Canada capture the world title in the event on leadoff duty. After being just outside of the medal picture in Tokyo, McIntosh was quickly gaining more and more international experience, and she was still only 15 years old. In March of 2022, McIntosh showed that she would continue to be a big-time threat in long course. At a Canadian Trials prep meet, she fired off a 4:29.12 in the 400 IM. That time was a personal best by 21 seconds, but also made McIntosh the 3rd fastest performer in the history of the event. That, coupled with a very strong showing at Canadian Trials, meant that McIntosh had some lofty expectations heading into the 2022 World Championships. And McIntosh took that challenge head on. In her first event of the meet, she would battle Katie Ledecky head-to-head in the 400 free, earning her first long course world's medal as she finished 2nd to Ledecky. Her time of 3:59.39 marked her first time under 4 minutes in the event, making her just the 4th swimmer to break that barrier. After that swim, McIntosh would upgrade her silver medal to gold as she dominated the women's 200 fly, setting a new world junior record of 2:05.20 to touch first by nearly a full second. In her last swim of the meet, she would add another gold to her medal tally with a win in the 400 IM. Here, McIntosh led on every single wall in a wire-to-wire battle with American Katie Grimes. McIntosh also left these worlds with additional hardware in the 800 free relay. Her 1:54.79 leadoff leg secured a strong leg for Canada that they managed to ride all the way to a bronze medal finish. Also notable is that Summer's time on that leadoff was faster than the 1:54.92 it took to win gold in the individual event. At her first ever long course world, Summer McIntosh walked away with 2 individual golds, a silver and a relay bronze. After such a strong performance, she suddenly had a very high bar set if she wanted to match it next year. And McIntosh cleared that bar with ease. At the 2023 Canadian World's Trials, at just 16 years of age, Summer McIntosh put on a stunning display. It all started in the 400 freestyle, where McIntosh set a new world record. Her time of 3:56.08 undercut Ariane Titmus's former record of 3:56.40. McIntosh had a much quicker opening than Titmus did, flipping at the 200 over a full second under world record pace, which gave her a big enough cushion to outlast Titmus's closing speed. That wasn't McIntosh's only world record at this meet. Later on in the 400 IM, she would also rip a 4:25.87, breaking the legendary Katinka Hosu's world record from 2016. McIntosh was faster than Hosu on every leg except for the breaststroke, which when all put together allowed McIntosh to take that record for herself. After setting 2 world records in those events, along with personal bests in the 200 fly, 200 IM, and 200 free, many expected great things from Summer McIntosh at the 2023 World Championships. Many swim fans, myself included, were particularly excited for the 400 free, with McIntosh, Titmus, and Katie Ledecky all in the mix, the event's 3 fastest performers ever. However, on the first day of competition, the Summer didn't get off to quite the start that many many had hoped for. In the 400 free, McIntosh finished off the podium in 4th with a 3:59.94. In addition to that, Titmus reclaimed the world record from McIntosh in a 3:55.38. McIntosh was back in action in the 200 free, where she earned herself a bronze medal and set a new world junior record of 1:53.65. After that, McIntosh would earn herself her first gold medal of the meet. In the 200 fly, she improved her personal best and broke the world junior record yet again as she touched first in a 2:04.06 to completely smash the field, winning by almost a second and a half. In her final event of the meet, McIntosh defended her world title in the 400 IM, off of her world record time, but still one of the fastest swims in history. Unlike the previous year's Worlds where Grimes and McIntosh were in a battle all the way to the end, this year McIntosh dominated, touching over 4 seconds ahead of Grimes, who once again earned a silver medal behind McIntosh. In addition to her 2 individual golds and individual bronze, McIntosh also won an additional bronze as a member of Canada's 400 medley relay, which wasn't that long after her 400 IM swim, so when all was said and done, she left with 4 medals, 2 golds and 2 bronzes. After another stellar Worlds performance, many expected big things out of Summer McIntosh at the 2024 Paris Olympics, but before that would get here, she had another big surprise in store. McIntosh has always had some pretty impressive versatility, but one issue she's had is that the women's 200 IM semifinals are on the same night as the women's 400 free finals, which has stopped her from adding that event. But with the new schedule in Paris, that conflict would no longer be an issue, freeing her up to add that to the program. But at the Southern Zone Senior Championships, McIntosh did something that threw a curveball in that plan. In the 800 free, she blasted an 8:11.39. That is a crazy fast time that makes her the second fastest performer in the history of the event, behind only Katie Ledecky. The really crazy part, Ledecky was also in this race and McIntosh beat her. This was big news. Ledecky doesn't lose this race. The last time she'd lost an 800 free was all the way back in 2010. McIntosh beating Ledecky in this event was the source of many headlines, and some were wondering if maybe she should try and add it to her Paris program, but ever the curse of the versatile swimmer, scheduling would stop that from happening, because the women's 200 IM and the women's 800 free are back-to-back events. At the Canadian Olympic Trials, McIntosh contested the 200 and 400 freestyles, the 200 and 400 IMs, and the 200 fly, and won all 5 of these events at trials. By far, her most impressive showing was the 400 IM, the one event where she won a personal best, which of course means it was a new world record. Her time of 4:24.38 knocked almost a full second and a half off of her former mark and made her the first swimmer to dip under the 4:24 barrier. Going into Paris, McIntosh opted not to swim the 200 free individually. This means her events for these games would be the 400 free, 400 IM, 200 fly, and the 200 IM. On night 1 of the 2024 Paris Olympics, Summer McIntosh would be up against the same swimmers that shot her out of the medals 1 year prior in the 400 free. Would the former world record holder get her revenge? Unlike Worlds, McIntosh was a constant presence in this race, pushing the world record holder through all 400 meters. While Titmus broke away to defend her gold in the event, Summer McIntosh won the silver medal, her first individual Olympic medal. Next for McIntosh was the 400 IM. As the back-to-back world champion and the reigning world record holder in the event, expectations were certainly high, and she delivered. Once again, Summer McIntosh torched an elite final of 400 IM swimmers, seemingly only able to increase her winning margin as she touched over 5.5 seconds ahead of no one else but Katie Grimes. After that, McIntosh was done with her 400s for the meet, but she still had some 200s left, the 200 fly and the 200 IM, and both of these races had some very competitive fields. In the 200 fly, Summer McIntosh would have to contend with Zhang Yufei and Regan Smith. Not only was Zhang the defending Olympic champion, but despite McIntosh's recent success in this event, both of these swimmers still held faster personal bests than McIntosh. Zhang was out very quickly, as she so often is. She had a strong lead over the first 50 and maintained it at the halfway mark, but McIntosh was closing. Over the next 50, McIntosh took control of the lead by close to a second. At the turn, Smith looked like she was going to give her a run for her money after a massive underwater, but McIntosh re-extended her lead to win her second gold medal. Her time of 2:03.03 is also a crazy fast time, even crazier than it might seem at first. Liu Zij's world record of 2:01.81 still stands tall over every other swim that has ever come since. In fact, many still consider that to be one of the most unbreakable world records out there. Summer McIntosh's winning time of 2:03.03 is the closest anyone has ever come to this record by far, and is now the second fastest performance in the history of the event. That swim makes her the first person since Liu's world record swim in 2009 to go faster than Jess Shipper's former world record, also in 2009. It's a big deal for swimmers these days to go under 2:04. That's one of the reasons why Zhang Yufei and Regan Smith were so notable heading into this race. They were the only ones to do it without a supersuit. And now, not only has McIntosh joined them under that barrier, but she's nearly broken the next barrier into the 2:02s. The women's 200 fly has been a stupidly fast world record for many years now, but this swim from McIntosh is the biggest leap towards it we've ever seen. After the fireworks of the 200 fly, it was time for McIntosh's final race, the 200 IM. This race has been seen by many in the lead up to these games as one of the most anticipated matchups on this program. On the first 50, Kate Douglas had a tiny lead with McIntosh just behind. On the backstroke, McIntosh had a massive split as one of only two swimmers to split under 32 seconds. The only swimmer to outsplit McIntosh was Caitlin McEwen, double backstroke Olympic champion and world record holder in the 200 backstroke, so pretty good company to be in. Breaststroke has long been McIntosh's clear weakness, and a weakness that Alex Walsh managed to exploit, as at the final wall it was her turn to take the lead, but McIntosh didn't let anyone else go by her and was still within striking distance. On the final 50, McIntosh showed her freestyle ability as she charged home and took the lead in the final meters, winning her third gold of these games and breaking 2:07 for the very first time with a 2:06.56. What's really interesting is that despite being the Olympic champion in the event, she wasn't the fastest split on any of the four legs. Douglas was just ahead of her on the butterfly, McEwen on the backstroke, multiple swimmers outsplit her on the breaststroke, and Douglas again had the fastest freestyle leg. But despite not being the absolute fastest on any legs, she was much more consistent in quality than her competitors were. That allowed her to put it all together and beat out this insane field at the end. With that, Summer McIntosh had concluded her 2024 Paris Olympics, walking away from the games with 3 golds and 1 silver, all individually, which made her one of the most decorated athletes from these games. Turning 18 just after these Olympics had concluded, McIntosh has continued to steadily improve year over year and continues to have a very bright future ahead of her. I personally can't wait to see if McIntosh ever gets the chance to try that 800 free at another big international meet, and I'm really excited to see where her 200 fly goes after that 2:03 low. Which of Summer McIntosh's swims from Paris do you think is the most impressive? Let me know down below.